I would say Larry Fink being orange-pilled. Right, you see old videos of him from 5-6 years ago where he was a Bitcoin skeptic, and he's now saying it's going to be part of everyone's portfolio, and BlackRock's the largest asset manager. Invesco Galaxy, we're going to try to knock them off the ETF pedestal, or at least, be a good battler, competitor in that space. And I think that's important because you're going to have 9, 10, maybe, firms trying to, build ETF products. That's 9, 10 sales forces going out and telling the Bitcoin story. Mm-hmm. And after that, they'll tell the Ethereum story and probably the Solana story. And so we're going to bring institutional capital into a space which has been dominated by retail. So that's exciting.
Yep.
I would say that was one.
Today we have Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz giving us an update on the crypto market, his prediction for Bitcoin, and why BlackRock is playing a much bigger role in 2025 than any other institutional investor. Novogratz believes that the coming bull run will be unlike anything we've seen in recent history. Strategy CEO Michael Saylor also believes that BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF will become the largest in the world, and this is only the beginning. Bitcoin's price currently sits just over $94,400, up almost 8% in the past week alone. We've seen many rapid cryptocurrency price rises in the last few weeks, and investors are eagerly anticipating market conditions to shift and the bull market to begin, which will bring massive capital pouring into crypto. Novogratz points out that just 1% of BlackRock's portfolio will open this floodgate to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars in institutional capital. When this happens, he says we'll witness a 400% increase in Bitcoin alone, targeting a $150,000 price, so we could see the biggest crypto surge yet in just a matter of months. Let's get right into the latest interview with Mike Novogratz as he gives us his crypto price predictions and timeline for Bitcoin and what we can expect in the days and weeks ahead.
We're at that point where the only way out of this is to debase your currency some. What the central bank's got to try to do, and I think Powell is doing this, you want to talk tough, or 2%, and allow 3.5%, 4%.
Yeah.
That's how you slowly inflate away your debt. Remember, that year at 10% inflation, that inflated away a bunch of debt.
Oh, yeah?
But what does that also do? It erodes your purchasing power.
Yeah.
In 2012, you could buy a house in this country for $190,000. In 2023, the average house is $390,000. It has doubled in 12 years.
It's unbelievable.
That's insanity. So if you're a young kid coming out of school, you're screwed.
Yeah, it stinks if you happen to graduate right in 2009.
But let me tell you, if you bought Bitcoin in 2010 or 2012,
you're doing pretty good.
You've protected your purchasing power against inflation. I mean, that's the simple argument for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I'm cherry picking the low, but
actually, if you look pretty much at any time,
you could almost do it any time.
Yeah.
And so the question just will be, what's the cost of the house going to be in 2030? And is your dollar plus its 5% interest going to keep up, or are you going to need to have some other assets? It's not just Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. I think silver and gold will go. It's other cryptos. It's equities. So equities go when they debase currency because everything is worth less. So the price goes higher. What's wonderful about certainly Bitcoin is it's now just on the macro dashboard. I'm sure when I walk into any macro trader, they've got crude and 10-year and gold and silver and probably the corn price and 10 years and JGBs and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so it's a macro asset. Most of those funds play it through CME futures. We had a big account recently buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin Cash with us. That makes me really happy.
You mean spot Bitcoin?
Spot Bitcoin.
Yeah, not Bitcoin Cash. The altcoin. Yeah, spot Bitcoin. Yep.
Spot Bitcoin with us. I think when the ETF shows up, that will be the weapon of choice.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's easy. It'll have liquidity. It's the same brokerage account. They'll get margin on it.
Yep.
And so I think you'll see a lot more, both long-short equity funds, macro funds, institutional funds participate. I remember I used to have conversations with some of the biggest fund managers in the world, right? Ray Dalio is a perfect example.
Right.
I remember trying to orange pill that guy over and over. It made zero sense for an $160 billion hedge fund to have a position in an asset that was big.
Right.
And so only at $500 billion, $1 trillion and real liquidity does any asset make sense for big portfolios, for the real big ones.
Right.
And so we have grown into, we're now big enough for anyone. We weren't when we were a $200 billion asset. We just weren't, right? Or a $100 billion asset. But as a $1 trillion asset, it's now big enough for almost anyone.
Embracing an unyielding enthusiasm for the crypto realm, Novogratz confidently predicts that explosive growth is looming on the horizon, as BlackRock and many other crypto giants are doing just that. Novogratz reassures that a long-expected surge awaits as we head into the last half of 2025.
I always say, what's the difference between Bitcoin and gold? They got the same macro story, and so I can talk about macro. The gold adoption story happened over 3,000 years. It ain't going anywhere. The Bitcoin adoption story is in it's the second decade, and it's picking up steam. And so what I mean by adoption is that people see it as a viable asset. What drives me frickin' crazy is when Elizabeth Warren or Jamie Dimon or, at times Janet Yellen says, well, I don't really see value in it. I was like, the gall, the arrogance that since you don't see value, there's no value. But Abby Johnson, oh, she must be stupid, right? Stan Druckenmiller, stupid. Ray Dalio, dumb. Jeff Yost, dumb. Pete Byrne, dumb. Like the arrogance, you're looking at some of the best investors that have walked this earth that say, hey, there's some value in it, right? Bitcoin's value is the social construct. I say it has value, you say it has value, therefore it has value. I don't care what Elizabeth Warren says. Quite frankly, I don't care what Jamie Dimon says.
Right.
And they have been proven wrong, and the group of people that care about it have been proven right.
Don't think you're smarter than the market.
Yeah.
The market values
And listen,
it.
you can decide, I don't want to buy it. Warren Buffett decided he didn't like it. Charlie Munger, God rest his soul, passed away hating Bitcoin. They were wrong in the time frame to operate on. It doesn't matter. Charlie Munger made so much money. I'm sure he passed away with the biggest smile on his face. He was a great mentor to people. You don't have to be in every You don't have to be in every asset, right? I wish I bought Apple stock 20 years ago. I remember buying a bunch of it. I sat with Peter Thiel one day, and he convinced this group of people that Apple, Microsoft, Google, these weren't tech stocks, they were monopolies. And I was like, it just clicked. Every once in a while, an idea clicks. And so I went out and bought a bunch of it, all of it. And it had a great year. They were probably all up 30% that year. And I sold them all. That was 2014.
Yeah. How has it done since then?
It's shocking. Once you realize something is a monopoly, you never sell it. And so listen, 2024 is going to be I think an important year. I really think 2025 is the year where crypto goes.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe not in price, but I think it takes that long, right? We won't have regulation, I don't think, in 2024. We might, 5-10% chance, we'll get it in 2025. Yeah. And we need regulation. We just do. And listen, the election is in 11 months, and so then it takes 4 or 5 months. And so you're really mid-25. I think that's probably when you see these tokenization things start getting to critical mass. And so in some ways, 2024 is going to look a little bit like 2023, with the exception of this giant fire hose called ETF, bringing new capital into the space. And what that capital does is allows people the time to keep investing in the projects that actually change the way people live, right? Bitcoin can change the way people save and protect their wealth, but it's not going to change the way the financial system operates, right? That's the plumbing of all this decentralized DeFi stuff and quasi-DeFi stuff and stable coins and tokenized Apple shares and tokenized Stradivarius violins and tokenized whatever.
Right.
The Bitcoin and other money coming into the space allows me to hire people. It allows my peers to hire people.
Right.
It gives us breathing space to actually build out this revolution. And so thanks to Larry Fink. And actually, to be fair, I got to give it a shout to the Grayscale team for fighting that. And that lawsuit really was like, I don't think the SEC is doing this because they want to.
Yeah. Their hand was kind of forced, it appears, by that ruling.
I would say CZ settling was a big, big deal. Right, there was all this FUD around Binance, and are they another FTX, and is he a crook, and are they stealing your money, and do they have the money? And
The crypto market is poised for a meteoric surge in prices. He illustrates Bitcoin's current undervaluation, drawing in investors and enticing speculators eager to ride the waves of September's price fluctuations in pursuit of profits. Novogratz's outlook is fueled by the impending wave of mass adoption, which he believes presents an unparalleled opportunity to get in on the action. He sees the race toward a six-figure price target set to unfold in just under a year. What's more, he highlights the intriguing historical pattern of Bitcoin's value surging 10x with each halving event, hinting that 2025 could catapult Bitcoin to an unbelievable $200,000. He asserts that the promises made by the Federal Reserve and central banks have been hollow, leading to excessive money printing and a proliferation of poor investments. And with the aftermath of the recent inflation surge, Novogratz says this will not lead to a return to the status quo. He argues that the economy has spun out of control, with the US facing a mounting debt crisis. Kaiser presents two bleak possibilities: hyperinflation or a deflationary depression. In either scenario, the overall quality of life deteriorates. He notes the absence of viable solutions, indicating an even greater severity of the crisis. Interestingly, he points out how political figures are discussing Bitcoin as part of a potential solution, marking a shift towards a Bitcoin-centric financial framework. What do you think about Mike Novogratz's prediction for Bitcoin, the crypto market cap, as well as the institutional capital pouring into the space? Drop your comments down below and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here.